All right, let's go now to the looming federal election. The PM says he'll hold it in May. And his spinners have managed to convince people like my colleague Andrew Clennell that he's telling the truth.
No, they're doing the budget. They're going later. At the moment, they're behind. Their view is they'll try and get in front somehow, and they reckon extra time will do that.
That's the song they've been singing.
Well, why would they run?
All year
why would they run away from a budget?
Next poll. Why? Because
how's that going to?
You see the numbers there from Deloitte.
Well, I suspect I'll speak to more senior Labor people than yourself, Peter. They could all be lying to me, but I think it would be a problem for them to have during the whole campaign, are you running away from doing a budget?
Well, that presupposes, of course, that those Labor insiders are telling the truth. I don't believe they are. I don't believe they're telling Andrew the truth for a moment, not a minute. Here's why. The Prime Minister's already briefed out to the media he'll be blitzing the country over summer. And as soon as the Parliament finished up last week, that already started. After Australia Day next year, the next key date in the calendar is the RBA's first meeting for the year. This is for 2025, and that's on Tuesday, the 18th of February. Now, with little chance of a rate cut now, and the budget full of red ink, that's due on the 25th of March, why would the government hang around to bring down a bad budget? I mean, right now, that red ink is speculation, well-founded speculation, but it's not yet confirmed. So right now, the Treasurer can sell his 2 budget surpluses, but once that budget comes down in March, it confirms a decade of deficits. So what, you want to launch a bid for re-election off the back of that? A budget drowning in debt when Australians are in a per capita recession, when productivity's in the toilet, immigration's at record levels. You want to use a bad budget to convince voters you're a sound economic manager. Well, good luck with that. Here's Ross Greenwood and the respected economist Chris Richardson on the rapid deterioration of the budget a little earlier on this network.
We've told you for some time the budget is from now going to deteriorate fast and there'll be no budget surplus in sight for the next decade at least. Now, that analysis comes from the respected economist Chris Richardson, who joins me now.
Most people look at the 2 budget surpluses and try to understand, well, that's magnificent. How did it happen? The answer is budgets move not merely because of the decisions of politicians, but also because of the everything else out there in the economy. And 3 big things: war, migration and inflation, all added to the tax take in recent times, much more than Treasury expected. The government, since being elected, has made decisions that have added $104 billion to spending. They've also added $44 billion to taxing. So that's a bit of an offset, the net of the two, a $60 billion worsening in the budget.
So it's a fiscal shocker any way you look at it. Then you've got to factor in those new 2035 emissions targets. They're also due in February. Not only energy paying this time in those targets, but agriculture and transport paying as well. But no pain if you're in caretaker mode, is there? Because those targets will stay secret until after Australians have voted. Then there's default market offer, essentially the mandated bill cap on the price of your electricity. It comes out every year, and that draft number, well, it's due in early March. And believe me, it won't be pretty. See why I think there's a strong political case to go early and hide all of this from voters. Yes, there was a potential clash with the WA state election if the government was to choose the same date as Saturday, the 8th of March. But they won't. They'll call it around the WA date for another Saturday in March or April, just as long as they avoid that 25 March budget. They do not want to bring a budget down. And that way, they'll do their best to bury the bad news until after you've voted.